Welcome to Lawrence County SportsNet Week in Review, Week 3 Recap Podcast, brought to you by Penn Ohio Bottled Water. Make sure you give Penn Ohio Bottled Water a call for delivery of your 3 to 5 gallon water cooler systems, or get cases of bottles delivered straight to your door, just the same way that we're delivering you with all the facts and figures from the week in the rearview mirror. That's Week 3, but it was opening game for WPIL conference play. And let's start with that, a Thursday night football game, Union against Shenango. How about some Thursday night football in the county? But unfortunately, Shenango missing 6 of their two-way starters in the game due to injuries. So Lawrence County's longest rivalry did not end up with a great battle for the 89th all-time meeting between the Cats and the Dogs. Final score was 40-8 in favor of Union. Union leading 40-0 at half, and the second half was essentially a JV game. Actually, only 10-minute quarters in the second half with that running clock. 10-minute quarters. Only 20 players dressed in the game for Shenango, and one of them actually was playing with a cast. So just very limited numbers for Coach Graham, though they expect players to be back in full within a couple of weeks. Braylon Thomas led the way, 4 passing and 2 rushing touchdowns, 100 yards each way. Grayson Blakely caught 2 of those touchdown passes. He also snagged 2 interceptions on defense. How about that? He earns MVP of the game award for his work there. And I want to give a shout out to Shenango's Nico DeSalvo, who scored the Wildcats' only touchdown and conversion. Shenango now at 2-2, Union at 3-1. Our Friday night feature games, the game of the week for sure, over at Bob Legge Stadium. Neshannock against Western Beaver, and Neshannock made it 7 out of 8 wins, 7 of the last 8 games against Western Beaver. An instant classic, 27-26. Lancers struck early, a pair of first-half touchdowns from Anthony Aiken. He ran one in from 5 yards out, and then he caught a swing pass, did the sophomore running back, took it 63 yards to pay dirt. He finished with 193 yards from scrimmage in the game. He took the MVP of the game in this contest for sure. Western Beaver, though, it took a while, but they got it going in the crucial, we'll call it the last 3 The last 3 minutes of the first half, first 3 minutes of the second half. They score a touchdown with just under 2 minutes left to go, cuts the lead in half to 14-7. They get an interception on defense, and they score again before the halftime buzzer. So it's tied 14-all at half. Dante Green and Dory McGee caught those 2 touchdown passes from the freshman Javen Peel. And then how about this? Western gets the second half kickoff. Green catches another long touchdown, makes it 20-14. Now all of a sudden Western Beaver's in control. Neshannock able to respond though. At the end of the third quarter, Gino Mazzocco gets a touchdown keeper, and what a read that he made. That was on a fourth down touchdown run, tie it back up at 20-20. Pulled it out of the running back's gut at the very last second and ran it in for the touchdown. Neshannock gets the ball back. Their next possession, they push it all the way down the field. Pat Ardro runs it in from 6 yards out. All of a sudden, Neshannock, midway through the fourth quarter, has a 27-20 lead. Lancer defense steps up big again. They get the ball back. They're trying to round out the clock. They go for the win. They try to put the game away, going for it on fourth down at the Western 30-yard line with just about 2 minutes to go. But they're stuffed, and they give it back, and Western has another chance. It didn't take long as Peel hit McGee for his second touchdown reception, a 70-yard pass, and on that very next play, made it 27-26, and credit Western. They elected to go for 2 and go for the win. They rushed quickly up to the line, but Peel was unable to handle the snap. The conversion does not get converted. It was fumbled, and Neshannock recovers the onside kick to get that hard-earned MAC victory. Neshannock now 3-1 on the year, and a big start to MAC conference play. The other game we had on Friday night, Wilmington versus Hickory up in D10. An interesting Region 3 clash. It ended up being Hickory coming away with a 41-21 victory in this one. It was interesting because both teams had new starting quarterbacks. Wilmington's Buddha Book returned to his more natural H-back position. Ashton Reeder took over at the quarterback spot, while Hickory starter Xander Tellis, he battled illness most of the week, so he did not start, but he did still play in the game. Parker Hilliard started, went a perfect 5 for 5, 99 yards and a touchdown. He was our MVP of the game. Tellis did end up playing throughout the second half and a little in the second quarter as well. Throws for 200 yards and 3 scores of his own. He also led Hickory in rushing. As for Wilmington, we mentioned Ashton Reeder. He ended up with a pair of rushing touchdowns for the Hounds in that first start at quarterback. Running back Ben Miller again goes over 130 yards. That's the fourth straight game that he's been over the 100-yard mark yet again. The Hounds, though, now at 2-2. Hickory at 3-1. And more tough games coming up in that absolutely deep Region 3 up in District 10. Well, there's the games we covered on Friday night. 3 down, 4 to go. We'll recap those as well when we return. It's our Week 3 podcast. Week in Review on the Lawrence County SportsNet, delivered by Penn Ohio Bottled Water.
Don't get left out to dry. Call the Penn Ohio Bottled Water Company for the fastest and most efficient bottled water delivery service in the area. Penn Ohio offers bottled water ranging from 16.9-ounce bottles to 5-gallon jugs, perfect for your next event or office water cooler system. Also, don't forget to ask about their custom labeling options. Visit PennOhioBottledWater.com for more information and to get a quote on their delivery services. Whether it's at home, in the office, or on the sidelines, Penn Ohio has you covered.
And let's get right into it with our Friday night recaps. Again, thanks to Penn Ohio Bottled Water for delivering you these recaps. How about Elwood City delivering big time? A come-from-behind victory against Freedom, 34-14. Trailed 7-0 early, but Chris Smiley says no problem. Probably the best game he's had as the Elwood City quarterback. Throws for 3 touchdowns, also ran for 1 as well. 213 yards through the air in the game. Michael Walters caught 2 of those 3 touchdown passes. And how about some balance? Elijah Palmer McCain again doing the job on the ground. 162 rushing yards for EPM. Overall, 415 yards of offense for the 3-1 Elwood City Wolverines. And another big one coming in their home-heavy schedule next week. Mohawk at Riverside, and this one was close early, but Mohawk able to explode in the second quarter. About 28 points in the second quarter en route to a 45-0 victory. Mohawk also now 3-1 on the year. They got a 37-yard field goal from Josh Wilkins. Justin Boston in the second quarter runs and catches a touchdown pass. Jay Rona runs and throws a touchdown pass. That's your 2 touchdown passes, the one to Boston and also another one to Blake Logan. AJ Verdi and Bobby Fadden each catching touchdowns in the second half to round out the scoring. How about this? Jay Rona leads the WPIAL with 17 passing touchdowns on the season. Mohawk again at 3-1, and we'll be seeing them out in Bessemer next week. The other 2 games, not so pretty for Lawrence County teams. Shutouts. Newcastle shutout at West Allegheny, 46-0. 10 West Allegheny possessions in the game. 8 of those 10 began in Newcastle territory. 2 early fumbles really didn't help with the starting field position issue, and 5 first-half turnovers for Newcastle certainly didn't help matters either. West A also even got a safety when they tackled the Newcastle punter in the end zone. In the end, Newcastle just 32 yards of offense, and now 13 consecutive losses for the Canes, 46-0. And it just doesn't get any easier throughout the course of the year in that Class 4A Parkway Conference. The other game was a non-conference game. Laurel, their last non-conference tilt of the year, they hosted the Mountaineers of Berlin Brothers Valley, and it was a 27-0 win for Berlin Brothers in that one. As a Laurel offense basically was held in check by Berlin Brothers Valley throughout a majority of the game. The quarterback's doing a majority of the work. Jackson Sauter, 60 yards on the ground. Lucas Santini, 70 yards through the air. And for the most part, Laurel couldn't get the offense going, but at least avoided the turnovers. And for a young team, lots of things to keep building on for the Spartans. Well, we're going to build on some previews coming up week 4, as holy cow, we're already at the midway point of the season next week here in high school football in Western Pennsylvania. We'll be delivering those factoids and previews like we do each and every week, courtesy of Penn Ohio Bottled Water delivery service. Make sure you ask about their custom label options. We thank them for all they do. We thank you for tuning in and week out. And make sure you stay tuned for the Week 4 preview and Week 4 games coming up. It's the Lawrence County SportsNet powered by LCAP. And while we have you real quick, don't forget the Lawrence County Band Festival coming up this week as well. Wednesday night at Taggart Stadium, and more great games coming on Friday. Enjoy it all at lcsportsnet.com.